we have different myths and different apprehensions.
The number one myth, the first thing that we hear, and that people are very concerned about side effects.
We never, increase the medication in a standardized way. We always personalize it. And often enough, I don't go up all the way to the maximum dose. Over 85% of our patients do not feel any side effects.
In reality, what we see is that if your weight loss is combined with increased protein intake, with a proper follow-up, with a proper structure on what you should be doing for your training, checking your body composition, all those things will ensure that you're going to get good results and be able to maintain your muscle mass throughout.
Welcome, everybody, to our podcast on weight loss. I'm Dr. Benheim Albert. I'm a family physician here at Physimed in Montreal.
Dr. Assayag, family physician at Physimed as well.
And Dr. Yann Azoulay, also at Physimed.
So over the past few weeks, we've talked at length of those new medications that everybody talks about, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, Zepbound. And I invite you to look at these podcasts because they're quite interesting. They touch a very specific subject on the theme of weight loss. However, these medications are widely used right now, and there is a lot of information, misinformation, myths that you can find on the social media that, creates some kind of confusion for patients. And they come, for some of them, they're a little bit apprehensive. They come to see us. So we decided to dedicate a whole podcast on, what's true, what's not true, what's right, what's not right, what's believable, not believable, what's true information or right information versus misinformation. So let's go right now. I think you'll enjoy this podcast. But first of all, what do these meds do? So let's go back a little bit. Whether it's Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, Zepbound, these medications are used we use them for weight loss extensively. And we have a lot of expertise in this. According to our medical reps, we're probably the top prescribers of these medications in Quebec and possibly in Canada. So we have a lot of expertise, and we've developed ways of how to. We see some things on the ground, and this is how we're going to base our observations and answers. So what do these medications do? On one hand, they curb your appetite so you feel less hungry. And on the other hand, also they make you feel full more quickly. So two different sensations. So if you feel full more quickly, you're going to cut down on your portions. But they also greatly help for people that have cravings, emotional eatings, and also food noise. So they're very effective tools, but they're only a tool. And, we have different myths and different apprehensions. So I'd like to hear what your top, concern or, from your own patients.
I think you'll agree with me. The number one myth, the first thing that we hear, and that people are very concerned about side effects. We hear,
absolutely,
it has very severe side effects. Many people believe that the side effects are, intolerable. They're very difficult to bear. The reality, and you see it in your experience, I'm sure, is that yes, there are side effects. They're most of the time very minor. The literature talks about 15-20% of people having
Okay,
side effects. And the majority of people will experience mild nausea, heartburn, bloating, digestive system, diarrhea, constipation, one or two or three of these side effects, not all of them. And usually we'll see these side effects when we start the medication, at the onset of the medication, your body needs to get used to this, or when we increase the dose or when we change the dose. Minor, most of the time within a few doses, a few weeks, the side effects disappear. And I can really count on the number of fingers on my hand, the number of patients that had to stop the medication because of side effects. So it's a minor thing. It's there, but it's very, very manageable.
I think again, it's understanding those side effects and how to manage them, and again, goes to the experience of our team that we have here, of being able to catch these things as they're happening, regular follow-ups, and really explaining to patients how to better manage their diet, hydration, all that, to avoid having any of these side effects.
Yeah.
So another thing for patients to understand is that, physicians that do not prescribe these medications regularly or do not have an expertise in prescribing these medications, or physicians that don't follow patients, usually give the patients a standard prescription. Unfortunately, what we see on the ground is that a standard prescription doesn't apply to everybody. Some people are short, some people are very tall, some people are young, some people are older. And, we never progress, increase the medication in a standardized way. We always personalize it. And often enough, I don't go up all the way to the maximum dose. I stop midway sometimes. Sometimes I have some patients that do super well with a basic dose. So everything is personalized. And when you personalize it, you minimize these side effects. It's only when you start doing it, standard, and you don't start to feel well that these side effects can happen. But just for the viewers, over 85% of our patients do not feel any side effects, and that's an important number, just for you to know. So another myths that we hear often enough from patients is when they stop the medication, they regain all the weight.
Yeah.
Well, that's true for any kind of weight loss program that you're going to have on this entire planet. Even if you have bariatric surgery, if you do not change your lifestyle, most likely you will regain the weight.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have gastric bypass or a gastric sleeve, but you need to change your lifestyle. And we do have in our program, in our weight loss program right now, we have some patients that had bariatric surgery that lost substantial amount of weight and regained it all back. So no matter what weight loss program you're going to follow, you need to change your lifestyle, not only to reach your targeted goals, but also to maintain the weight loss, long term. So we have a way at the office to taper gradually the patient. So we never stop the medications like that. We gradually wean them off while they have already changed their lifestyle. And what we see with our patients is that it's not a problem for our patients to maintain their weight loss. I'd like to hear you guys on this topic because this is an issue that comes back often in my practice anyways.
For sure, and I can link into to another myth where people feel like you need to take this medication for life, and it's really not the case, because it's the same idea, it's the same concept. If you do not change your lifestyle, you'll either regain the weight or you'll need to take this medication for life. But the reality on the ground is that if you change your lifestyle or if you work towards improving your lifestyle, It makes a world of difference. And in fact, you don't regain the weight, and you actually do taper off the medication and stop it. And that's the goal. Really, the objective is to stop the medication after a while. And it works. It works. But the key is really to work to think of the medication as a tool, but not the ends in itself. It's not you're not losing. I tell my patients, you're not losing weight because of the medication. You're losing weight because of everything that you're doing and all the lifestyle changes. And the medication is a major tool, but it's just a tool to
Sure.
help you.
Again, it's all, we've said it before, but it's all about consistency. I also often tell patients that they didn't gain all their weight because they had one bad meal or one big night out, or the same thing is true about their weight loss or maintaining it after. It's not because they missed one day of workout that they're going to regain all the weight. It's a question of being consistent and having that routine really set in place long term.
So there are many, many myths out there. It's important for you guys to understand, what's what. And nothing is, clear cut in here, but we see what we see on the ground. And it's important for you guys to understand that. Now, I'd like you to tell us about the next myth that we hear about muscle loss.
Yeah. So muscle mass is also a big topic. So we often hear that taking these kind of medications will make you lose a lot of muscle mass throughout. And in reality, what we see is that if your weight loss is combined with increased protein intake, with a proper follow-up, with a proper structure on what you should be doing for your training, checking your body composition, all those things will ensure that you're going to get good results and be able to maintain your muscle mass throughout. For us, everything is going to be very individualized and personalized for each patient. I have pretty strict limitations of what I'm trying to achieve in my patients in terms of their muscle mass loss over the 6 months, over the year. But there are some patients that actually don't have much weight to lose. It's just really optimizing their muscle mass or optimizing their body composition to get them to feel the way that they want to feel, to get them to look the way they want to look.
And to improve their health,
Sure.
to get rid of blood pressure and cholesterol issues.
Number one gun.
Yeah.
So, for our viewers out there, there are a lot of weight loss, programs that existed, before us or before GLP-1s or whatnot. I mean, and most of the weight loss programs that exist out there only base themselves on weight. So, if you lost 30 pounds, well, hey, you lost 30 pounds. But what kind of weight did you lose? Nobody bothered to question that, right? In our program, we do. Whenever you come for an evaluation, the first thing we do is we use a sophisticated machine to analyze your body composition. We know exactly how much fat you have, how much muscle you have, and so on and so forth. And we track this throughout the program. How does this help us? Tremendously, because it helps us adjust your program. We know we want you to minimize muscle loss and maximize fat loss. We all know that when you lose weight, you just don't lose fat. You also lose some muscle. In our program, about 5, maybe up to 7% of the weight that you're going to lose on average for all our patients, and we have hundreds of patients in our program, is going to be muscle. Most of it, the great majority, close to 95%, is going to be fat. So the answer is, if we track this and we analyze it and we adjust the program, you're not going to lose, you're not going to lose that much muscle when you use these medications effectively. These medications, have been around, but some patients come to see me and tell me, "Whoa, doc, I don't want to take these medications. They're experimental." I tell them, "What are you talking about?" So just for the viewers out there, before a drug is commercialized, when a pharmaceutical company comes or invents a molecule or drug, the drug goes through an extensive, research and clinical trials in order to not only prove efficacy but also to prove safety. Very important. So it could be 10 years before a drug is actually commercialized. And to be commercialized, you need to have the green light of Health Canada or FDA in the States, which is not easy to get. So this is a very regulated, very regimented, program. And these drugs have, in effect, been around for close to 20 years. They've been used for diabetes, for a few years before. And then, in the States, they've started to promote also the weight loss effect of these drugs, because these drugs are very effective in losing weight. And afterwards, they came to Canada with this indication of weight loss. So, no, these drugs are not experimental. They've been used now for quite a while. They've been around for about 20 years. And they do work, and they're quite safe. That's what we see.
Absolutely, and I remember in the beginning when we started having the indication, at least by Health Canada, for to be approved to be using these medications for weight loss. I had a lot of patients who I would see on social media, on the newspaper, so much negative press about these medications. And it's something that never really clicked with me, because these medications have existed or have been on the market for diabetes at the time for about 10 years. And some patients were taking this for about 10 years and never had developed any of these odd or bizarre side effects other than what we expect to see with just like any other medication. And to me, I don't put all my trust in the pharmaceutical company, but it's still trust the studies that were done previously, trust my own patients that were on these medications for diabetes for years prior. And then, to me, we were lucky enough to be able to see the results of these medications over the past almost 4 years and see what it's done to people's lives.
It's almost like, once it became available for weight loss, all of a sudden it's worse, right? It's the same medication, but because it's for weight loss, all of a sudden there's more side effects. It's more dangerous. As you said, they've been around for diabetes. I've been using them for more than 10 years for diabetes. The Victoza is the first,
Sure.
and amongst the most effective medications, the most useful medications for diabetes. But all of a sudden, because it's for weight loss, well, now it's dangerous, right? And it's the reality is they're very safe. Of course, they have to be prescribed, they have to be monitored, and like anything, there can be side effects, but they're very safe medications.
That's it. I find it's another big myth that we have, is that these medications are dangerous on the market, and it's absolutely not the case. Like any other medication, like mentioned, it should be prescribed, it should be followed up by a healthcare professional. You should be given the right information. You should be explained these things before starting and explain how to better optimize it throughout. And you have to understand that these are still medications that are amongst the most studied medications in metabolic health at the moment, and will only keep developing.
Yeah.
So just for the viewers out there, let's put it on the table here, because weight loss is a huge market. It's a multi-billion-dollar market. So for many years, there's been companies that thrived on their weight loss programs, that had nothing to do with medication. So, however, now that the GLP-1s came, well, these companies are suffering. Like we see Weight Watchers went bankrupt in the States, $1.8 billion of bankruptcy. That's because the GLP-1s, came around, very effective, and they started to lose business. And like Weight Watchers, many other companies that specialize in, or cater themselves to the weight loss world are suffering because these medications are so effective. People use them and see results. So, obviously negative press is going to come around because they had a business, and this business now is gone. But this is what life is about. Technology comes on board, and we talked about things like VHS and DVDs. Well, they were great technologies when they were around, but they were outdone by new technologies, and this is what progress is about. And these GLP-1s are really a paradigm shift, a new, they're a game changer in the weight loss world. So, all in all, another, myths that you have to know is. We talk about the easy way out. Maybe you want to say something about that.
Well,
Some
I mean, a
patients,
lot of people will tell us, it's the easy way out. To why take the medication? It's just, it's easy.
it's a coping out.
It's yeah. Well, if you followed our previous episodes, you know that it's not that easy. Of course, it's a great tool and it helps tremendously. But without the effort, without the exercise, without the lifestyle changes, without all of this. That it's nothing in there is that easy. The reality, though, is the medication really makes a huge difference, and it's a very powerful tool, very useful tool. It is not the easy way out.
Yeah, but I'd like to nuance that a little bit. It's not easy, but it's easy. So let me tell you what I mean by that. So I've had hundreds of patients. I've lost a lot of weight, like over 100 pounds for some of them, 150, 70 pounds and whatnot. And I always ask them once they reach their goal, have you suffered? And the answer for all of them is no. It was easy for them because they didn't have to fight hunger. This is what's really, really the key thing. So what you mean by it's not easy is that people have to make a conscious effort about changing their lives. They have to change what they consume on daily basis. Some people are used to drinking their calories through alcohol, so now they're changing. Some people were sedentary, and now they're becoming active. So yes, from that point of view, I agree. They have to make a conscious effort. But is it difficult? No. It's easy for the patients if they embrace it. Anything you want to add on this?
Yeah, I feel like it really changed the approach for people, right? Is that we're always told, oh, it's diet, it's changing this, changing that, and a lot of these things have worked. Now the question is, have they been sustainable long term? That's questionable. I find that with the use of these new GLP-1s, is that people could actually just focus on the physical activity part. Is that, again, it's never easy to make those big changes in your life. That being said, if the diet is going to be easier for you to follow, if the eating less is just going to be kind of put on a sort of autopilot, but it gives you the time and the mental resources to focus more on the physical activity and on focusing on maybe a part that you weren't really putting much attention to before. And that's what really allows us to get big results and get results that are going to be sustainable long term.
Absolutely. So listen, there are many things circulating in the social media. So today, what we've done is we try to simplify things and to demystify things for you so that you understand a little bit more, what these meds do and what they don't do. As far as we're concerned, there are huge advancement in the weight loss world, and it seems like there are new meds are coming, in the future that will also use this technology to another level. So it's groundbreaking. It really helps, but you have to do it in a structured way, and there is no substitute for lifestyle change. There is no magic pill here. There's no magic pill. I'm repeating. Don't think that you're going to take this and it's going to do it on its own. You have to consciously make that decision. You have to change your lifestyle, not only to lose the weight, but also to maintain it. So, like I say all the time, there is no magic pill, but there is a magic solution. So, on that note, thank you very much for watching this podcast. And if you thought that this podcast was of any interest to you, or if it was worthwhile to you, don't hesitate to share it with your friends and your family members. We're on most of the platforms. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and you can also find these podcasts on our website. So once again, thank you and see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.